You're listening to the Future of Convenience podcast, featuring senior retail executives and experts in the global convenience and mobility industry. Welcome to the Future of Convenience podcast. I'm Carolyn Schnare, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dan Munford. Hey, Dan, how you doing today?
Hi, Carolyn. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, Dan, I'm really excited to jump in on a topic today. You and the team recently visited Sweden, seeing a huge electric vehicle charging for HGVs, as you call them in the UK, or trucks, as I call them here in the US. And we're going to talk with a very significant operator who's driving this forward in Europe, Milence.
Hey, I'm Frank Gleason. A quick message before we get started. Invenco by Gilbarco Veeder-Root puts on its retail technology conferences in the US and Europe each year. Last November, I attended in Madrid, and this spring we were back in Chicago. It was 3 days abuzz with content of the best of technology topics towards a vision of the forecourt of the future. This coming October sees us in the next in the series back in Europe, in London from the 6th to the 8th of October. The agenda is bigger and better than ever, covering hot topics curated by the retail fueling experts in the GVR family. To learn more and secure your invitation, visit invenco.com/retail-technology-conference. I hope to see you all there.
So, Dan, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your trip to Sweden and the truck operator that you spoke with there and our guest today?
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure, Carolyn. Well, our guest today is Cathrin Iden, who's Network Sales Manager for the Nordics at Milence. And we did have a very interesting visit to Sweden recently. Why did we go to Sweden? Well, if you're looking at charging infrastructure build-out in Europe, which market do you go to? You go to Sweden, because that's where it's really happening. We knew that. And actually, we've made a few visits to Sweden just to track what's going on and really look at the market changing and expanding. And of course, from a European perspective, by way of background, Milence is committed to building and operating Europe's largest public charging network for heavy-duty vehicles. So with trucks, of course, Carolyn, you can't charge them at home. So you're not going to invest in these heavy-duty vehicles, these very expensive heavy-duty vehicles, until you know that your drivers are going to be able to charge on the long-distance routes that they find themselves on. So, really, really interesting conversation today.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. So I am excited to welcome Cathrin Iden, who is the Network Sales Manager of the Nordics for Milence. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It will be great to be here today.
Well, Cathrin, terrific to meet you again. Of course, the last time we met, we were at your very impressive Varberg Nord site in Sweden. Just to paint the picture for listeners, this is a huge truck charging location. It's very, very impressive site. Very, very well constructed, attractive charging site for trucks. Tell us a bit about the background to Milence and who's behind it, Cathrin.
Yeah, Milence was actually founded 3 years ago in July 2022. And we are founded by the three major OEMs. It's a joint venture between Volvo Group, Daimler Group, and Traton Group. And we have a mission to ensure a world with fossil-free transport for everyone. And our vision is really to drive and support the transition to zero-emission heavy trucks vehicles across Europe.
Yeah. And let's just, obviously we're in Sweden, and let's perhaps think about Sweden before we think about other markets. But, do you feel that haulage companies are getting the confidence now that there's sufficient truck charging on the road in Sweden to invest in heavy trucks, Cathrin?
I think Sweden is one of the leading countries. We've been quite early with especially building the network in Sweden, both us and the competitors, of course. So I think so, but also we are a little bit struggling because the companies start on the local distribution and then they continue to go long haul. So it's still a very early stage and a learning phase. Companies are trying to adapt, and soon we will see more long hauls on the routes.
And which of just thinking about staying on Sweden, which of the major routes are you electrifying? Just from a long haul charging perspective, which of the major routes are you electrifying in the Swedish market?
Yeah, Milence is really driving the electrification, and we are building electrifying routes. And in Sweden, it's especially along the 10T network. It's from Stockholm to Malmö on the E4. It's the E6 from Stockholm up to Oslo. And it's also the E8 from Stockholm to Oslo, and the E20, that's really a green highway in Sweden that we are building. But we also build in the rest of Europe, of course. We are
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
have a target to, by the end of 25, have 40 operational sites across 9 different markets in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess obviously from a haulage perspective, hauliers won't just look at the Swedish market; they'll look at European routes, won't they, for for road haulage. So this is not just a one market challenge. This is a multiple market. This is a European challenge, isn't it, to build a appropriate and sufficient charging network for trucks.
Yes, of course. It's a lot of challenges to build a network, and as we're doing it, what I think is really cool is to start from like zero and building it already within three years. We are in 9 markets, so that's really kind of fast paced that we do. Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive how this is developing. Um, Cathrin, just let me ask you about the drivers and how you look after them, when they stop and charge, because obviously truck drivers have a different profile to passenger vehicle drivers in terms of what they need. Can you perhaps talk a little bit how much have you thought about that?
We talked about that a lot, and we are really looking into the drivers' everyday life. So there's a shortage of 500,000 of drivers in Europe, and we really would like to do something for them to have a better life, and also to attract new drivers and female and younger drivers to this work. So we are building a very safe and secure rest and recharge areas where we have a lounge. In many of them, we have a lounge, we have toilets, we have showers, we also have coffee. We have a lounge where you can sit and having free Wi-Fi. And we also have outdoor areas where you can sit to really have the best time that you can have when you are charging your truck. And so they are fenced, and that's also to make it very safe and secure. To protect the goods that is traveling within the truck, but also to protect the truck and the drivers. And so that's why we only let huge or heavy trucks into our facilities. So you can't just go there. There is a gate, and you need to tell our operation that, hello, I'm visiting the hub in Varberg, please let me in. And then we will open the gate for e-trucks. So we try to avoid to have private cars or anyone else occupying the charging bays that are so important for the trucks and the truck driver to really have the rest and recharge time within the time slot that the drivers has for a break.
So now I have 2 questions on that, Cathrin. One of them is about the time slots that you mentioned, but then also I wanted to quickly jump back a little bit. So there's no fuel, no liquid fuel. It's all e-charging.
It's all e-charging inside our hubs, only heavy truck e-charging. And we are actually, in Sweden, we are building for the long track. We actually prepare for the 25 meters long track. And in some areas, we also have for 35 meters to be prepared for the future.
Oh, very cool. So you said something about the booking system, or do people reserve their spots there? Is that what I heard you say before?
No, yes, in the future they will. We are actually piloting a booking tool right now that empowers the fleet managers and drivers to reserve charging slot at the selected hubs. So we could guarantee future availability. You can make update, you can cancel booking as needed, and you can also get real-time notification and stay informed about your route. And that's also an automated process and streamlined at every entry at the charging hubs. You can also get in there. So if you are booked, the gate will open for you. So we're looking forward to this to be a really seamless experience for the future. And the booking tool will be available by a Milence portal. That's a web-based application that is currently in development.
So along that same length too. So then are these trips like highly planned out? So someone's coming from, one end to the other, or whatever their distance is that they're traveling, whatever it is they're bringing. I'm assuming, trucks I know go on a formatted trip, but like, do they book out exactly where they're going to stop at one of your locations until they get to the next one? And are there any other gaps in between that they fill at commercial hubs?
So what we see with the solution that is there today, and with AI and what we know now, you know the weather condition, we know the load of the truck, you know the time that the driver have to rest and so on. Then you can really predict when you need to stop. And it's very important to be time effective to really do that. And that's why we also believe so much in the booking tool, because you won't get, if you're a truck driver and you have a tight schedule and you end up in a charging station where there's actually a private car standing charging together with a caravan because they need a longer parking lot, we need to make it possible to really ensure that you can get your energy within the certain amount of time that you need.
Cathrin, if I could come in here, just thinking about the drivers and what motivates them. It's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously there are other operators in the market in Sweden, for instance, that we visited, Circle K, for instance, and Q8, who are also building out charging infrastructure for trucks. But those drivers, are part of they're part of the general customer base for those locations, aren't they? So they mix with they have electric truck chargers, but then they go to the convenience store and they can use the convenience store just like anybody else. Your customers, it's almost like a private. Just the way I describe it, Carolyn, it's a bit like being a member of a private club. So only you can only get in. Nobody else can get in if they're not driving an electric truck, and you feel very looked after. The toilets, obviously are really important, the showers and so on. The infrastructure is kept really, really clean. And of course, that's difficult when you've got a huge volume of other customers using it, as you'd find perhaps in another location. It's certainly a challenge. But also, you get the sense, obviously, of security as well, because you're driving, very high value cargoes in many respects, and you're often a target for crime, So then these locations that you're building at Milence, they're very secure, aren't they, Cathrin? So, I guess you've probably done quite a lot of research, haven't you, amongst drivers to think about what they need and what the haulage companies are also looking for.
Yeah, so we are kind of building safe and secure rest areas according to the golden standard of EU. So the hubs are fenced. I think it's about 2 meters high fence around it, and it's gates. So when you're approaching the hub, for now, you press the intercom button and say, "Hello, I would like to charge in Varberg," and then the gate will open for you, because there's actually a human monitoring your truck and see that, yes, this is an e-truck. And we also only open for big trucks. So no light vehicles and so on, and no diesel trucks are allowed in. So it's only heavy e-trucks coming into our hubs.
I mean, it's interesting. You're, and I know this is something that you do day in, day out. But just for listeners, you're very much focusing on the long haul, aren't you? This isn't about small electric trucks or an electrician who's got an electric van who can charge. This is for long haul electric trucks, isn't it? So you're a very distinct customer group here.
Yeah, we think that we are needed in the market to really fulfill the need of the long haul, to really electrify the routes across Europe. And as I mentioned before, this is really to our safe and secure hubs is to build for the trucks to stay safe during, and we save the truck, we save the goods with expensive thing, and also for the truck driver to feel comfortable when he's charging.
Let's talk about truck drivers, electric truck drivers, and the demographic and the profile in terms of what's coming. Because Cathrin, when we've had conversations about this, you've always, and I know this from the industry, there is a shortage of truck drivers. It's difficult to recruit them. It's a tough job, So this is quite interesting. Whenever I've spoken, obviously this is only a few examples, but whenever I've spoken to an electric truck driver, whether that's in Norway or Sweden or anywhere else, they seem a different profile. They're often much younger, and they're kind of techie guys. I haven't met many young female electric truck drivers, though I understand that there's more of them and probably going to be more of them. But do you think that the profile of truck drivers is going to change as more electric trucks get on the road?
Yes, I hope so, and that's really why we are building this safe and secure hubs. With that, the first year I was working, we talked so much about toilets. It's an incredible amount of time and money spent on toilets, because that's so important. Because that's what we saw in different questionnaires, that is the main topic for a driver. Actually, it's kind of an easy thing, but So yes, I expect us by doing this to have recruit more younger drivers and female drivers to see it. That's, as you said, a little bit of different profile on it. And I know also that the hauliers, when they have had some e-trucks and the drivers have tried it, they really would like to continue. They love the e-trucks. They are so much more convenient in driving.
So we talked a lot about the Swedish market. Which other European markets are moving quite quickly into building out heavy duty charging infrastructure, Cathrin? Which other markets do you see Milence expanding into?
I think Sweden is kind of the front runner when it comes to the infrastructure of building out hubs. We have some really good competitors in Sweden. It's a certain case building out. We have OKQ8 are building out, and also there are small chains of network with infrastructure for heavy truck chargings. But then we can also see the electrification rate in different countries. The Netherlands is quite mature. Sweden was a leader. I think others are catching up. Denmark is really coming now with the road taxes they do have. That really enforces the electric trucks. Germany is really coming now as a future market for e-trucks, and also France.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, one of the questions that's also come up when I've spoken about this to different people is payment. Paying for your charging, and obviously, if you just stop anywhere, and obviously you can't just stop anywhere, but let's just say you can stop anywhere, you may have 14 different apps that you can pay on, and it's a big frustration, isn't it? For the truck drivers to have to mess around with different apps. I mean, these are people who are spending their life on the motorways. It's a big frustration. How do you handle payment in your locations, Cathrin?
We are open for quite all of the different EMSP. For example, the Volvo card, the Traton card, the Utah card, the DQV card, Shell Recharge. We have a lot of cooperation in roaming agreements. You can also have the Milence card or the Milence platform that, as I mentioned before, the booking tool. That should be like a seamless charging. So you just book your tool and then book your charging, and then you go into the hub, and that should be a seamless experience in the future for the truck driver. That's what we see. And we can also talk about pricing. We have a very clear pricing strategy. It's 39 euro cent all across the European network.
Yeah, and I guess, is that hard to? I mean, is it hard to be to keep that standardized pricing across such a big market? Because obviously electricity costs will vary, won't they?
Yeah, of course it will be for the future. But as we see ourselves as the biggest one, big in this all across the countries, we said that we can set the pricing. It will for sure varies in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I guess last question from me, just in terms of the kind of electric trucks that you're seeing. Are you seeing a lot of different brands of large electric truck appearing? Are the numbers? I suppose my question is, are the numbers there in terms of the manufacturers producing the right kinds of trucks and the right number of electric trucks now? Do you see a lot more out there on the road?
I think we're missing so many trucks out on the streets. So of course, all OEMs are working on the electrification trucks, but we expected it to be much more trucks on the road when we were founded. So we are trying to build 1 year ahead of the market, but we still wait a little bit for the market. And what we do to adapt to that is that we build more modular for the future, maybe building a small hub as we did in Landvetter, for example, in Sweden. We built one hub with 2 chargers, 4 bays, and now we are expanding it to actually be 9 bays in total with 1 MCS charger. So we are really building out the MCS network also. I think I should mention that we are building that in 71 sites in 10 European countries. By the end of 2027, we're going to build 284 MCS charging points, and that's really to be able to charge within the short time frame that to really accelerate the electrification, and that should then be possible for the drivers to really fully upload your truck during your break.
That is an incredible amount of growth in just a year. I know you said you had a lot by the end of 2025, which we're halfway through right now, and then into 27, which is 2 years from now. So, man, you're busy. You are one busy woman and one busy company. So we really appreciate you taking the time out today to talk to us, to explain how everything's going. And I can't wait to watch what's going on and to hear more. And we'll have you back in another year or two and see, you can tell us, how you've totally European dominated everything on your side of the world. And then maybe, what about the US? You coming over here at all?
I don't know anything about that. Eventually in the future, you never know.
Well, I look forward to continuing to watch everything. And thank you for sharing the story and explaining this all a little bit to us. This is an area that Dan and I really focus on convenience and people and cars. So this is a different area, at least for me, to hear about on the truck driving side of things. So Cathrin, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck to you as you continue to grow out. And thank you so much for listening to the Future of Convenience podcast. Thank you for listening to the Future of Convenience podcast, produced by Dan Munford, Nick Scherzer, Jenna Ferguson, and Lorraine Evans. It is produced and edited and mixed by Carolyn Schnare, and music is provided by Jukebox Music. Learn more at globalconvenience.com.